The Auburn Tigers take game one from LSU, 8-4 at home at Plainsman Park. Y'all, this team is hot and they're rolling. And let's get in here and talk about it today. I'm sorry about the first go around. I had a mic issue, so I realized as soon as I clicked on the live stream to go live, and I had to bounce up out of there, and I had to get in here. And I'm a little strapped for time, taking the kids to the zoo today, but I had to squeeze this one in here because I feel like this was such a monumental win for Auburn baseball. And LSU, they're number 3 in the country. We know everything that they bring to the game of college baseball, right? We know how historical of a program LSU baseball is, and all the swag that they have, and they just won the College Baseball World Series 2 years ago, and the team that they had with Paul Skeens and all the greats that have come out of that school, right? So I just felt like after the momentum that you had last week against Alabama, it's been a crazy 2 to 3 weeks for Auburn. You get swept by Georgia in a series, in my opinion, where you shouldn't have got swept at all. You should have won 2 out of 3. That's where I stand with it. But you didn't. The ball didn't bounce your way. You get swept. Then you have some trouble in the midweek games, especially against UAB. You end up getting swept by them on the year. And you go into Alabama, and you got it at Plainsman Park, and you're kind of limping into that series. Well, I mentioned it. I thought the Alabama series was do or die. Your season was on the line against Alabama. They had all the hype. They had taken a game from Tennessee. They had won a couple series. They were ranked higher than you. Justin LeBron has got all the hype, which is very much deserved. I think he's a great player. But if you didn't win that Alabama series, the path to getting to the postseason would have gotten extremely difficult. Would have been extremely difficult with the games that you had coming up, because I don't know if you have the same amount of hype going into this LSU series. I don't know if the guys get up the way they did last night for this Friday night LSU game. And you roll into Friday night. You've got a lot of confidence, even though they were throwing Anderson, top 5 pitcher in the country. Great stuff, lefty. A lot of people like to throw lefties at Auburn because we got a lot of guys that swing it left-handed, right? So I think LSU really thought they had a favorable matchup, and I think a lot of people did. I mean, not shying away from that, and his stuff was great. I think Auburn had some trouble early seeing it out of his hand. Like guys like Cooper McMurray were kind of struggling. There was one pitch where he just threw a heater right past Coop, and Coop swung after the ball had already went by him. So there was some struggles there for Auburn, but Sam Dutton gives Auburn the opportunity on Friday nights to win series. He's that electric. And what's crazy is he was playing in the opposite dugout last year again with LSU against Auburn and the SEC, right? So like I think it was a special night for him to go out against your former team. And I'm not going to say LSU gave up on him, because we all know how the transfer portal is, the craziness of it. I think Tennessee football is going through it right now. That's a disaster. Um, just insane stuff of what NIL has come to and things like that, the transfer portal. So I don't want to say LSU gave up on Sammy D, but he decided to leave and he found a new home with the Auburn Tigers. And what a revenge game to just go out there. What he go 6 innings? I think he gave up 3 hits. I think he fanned 7. That's elite stuff on a Friday night, guy. He's going to give you the opportunity to be in a position to win a series. That's how electric he was. Man, that over the top little spin piece he's got, and it looks like, man, that's so easy to hit. When it comes out, I'm like, oh, he hung that one. And they fan through it every time. I think they squared it up like twice last night. I think they squared him up twice off of it. But the pitch location is to where they can't. They're not going to hit a bomb off of it unless they just put a hell of a swing on it. You saw him. Everything was flushed to right center. Right center. They were having to sit back on that thing, drive it the other way. But I thought Sammy D was electric, man. That one inning where he kind of got into some trouble, the crew, man. What are we doing here? All right, I think the trouble that Sammy D ran into, which it wasn't like a disastrous inning or anything, but you could feel the emotions building up, right? You could feel Sammy D like letting the moment get a hold of him and kind of suck him in, and I think he had to take that mound visit where all the guys like Derek Fabian, who's a senior, Cooper McMurray, who's a senior, those guys come in there and they said, "Hey, man, look, calm down. We know the call didn't go our way." And I think that was a terrible call. How do you spend 15 minutes at the review booth or in Birmingham on the earpiece now, since they don't go to a camera, and you come back and say, "Oh yeah, the play's not reviewable," because you got the call wrong, and you didn't want to admit that you got the call wrong. That's why you did it. It didn't have nothing to do with the play's not reviewable or whatever. The kid, Butch, had every right to get on their tail because the kid was out of the baseline the entire way down. That's what the two white lines are for in the dirt. All right. That is the running path for the base runner. They even give you a security bag now, a safety bag, because they said that the collisions at first base were getting a little too dangerous and out of hand. So why are you that far inside the baseline? And I think Butch had every right to just absolutely go off. And then the one thing that I didn't really like, I did not care for, is I felt like the one blue from in the field, he come in, and I felt like Butch kind of was like pointing at the main guy behind the plate, and the guy kind of like shoved into Butch and like tried to like back Butch up, and Butch was like, "Don't you put your hands on me," like. And Butch kind of backed up, and he was like, "Don't do that," And I felt like at that point they knew they were wrong. They knew they had blown that call, and they just didn't want to come out and be like, "Hey, look, man, we screwed up. All right, we botched it. We botched it." So then it comes out to where Sammy D feels like, okay, you got one over on me. And he's a little juiced up. He's wanting to get out of the inning, and he misses some spots. And then he throws one right down the middle, and you call it a ball. I'm like, all right, man, look, you already hoed us once. Don't hoe us again. Don't do it again. And then eventually Sammy D, they had the mound visit. Sammy D collects his thoughts. He settles down. He works out of the jam. And at that point, I really started feeling like, hey, Auburn has all the momentum in this game. And it's going to be really, really difficult. You fought through the rain. You got through all of that without making the disastrous inning that we always talk about with Auburn baseball, right? Chase Fralick, way to get the thing going. He's been phenomenal as a freshman. To go down and get that 0-2 breaking ball out of the dirt, man, and just put that swing on it. Yeah, the left fielder from LSU had a terrible route, but I don't think they were seeing the ball that great in left field early on, because Bub Terrell had a couple out there where he was like, hey, I can't see it. Maybe it was the lights at Jordan Hare or something like that, because I think they turned them off. They usually keep them on. I don't know what it was, but Bub was just kind of saying, he was like, hey, I can't see when the ball gets up there. And maybe the LSU left fielder, he didn't see that ball off Chase Fralick's bat. So, but it was an exceptional piece of hitting. Ike Irish. What else do we have to say about Ike Irish? Top 10 pick in the MLB draft this coming up year. I think he will go down as one of the greatest Auburn baseball players to ever play in this uniform. He can play anywhere, folks. He can catch. He can play first. He can play right field. He's a team guy, not a me guy. He's a we guy, all right? You saw it last night when he hit the base clearing triple. He gets on third, and he's like, let's go, baby. He's like, it's Auburn. It's Auburn, all right? That is what I call a we guy, not a me guy. Nico Lamalavea, that's a me guy. That's all about me. Ike Irish, look at the season Auburn had last year. All right. Ike Irish could have hit the transfer portal and he could have said, hey, deuces, I'm going to Arkansas. I'm going with Chris Stanfield to LSU. I'm going to wherever, Tennessee. They just won the College World Series. And I know I can go there to all of those schools and I can start. But he didn't. He didn't because he's a we guy, not a me guy. He stayed at Auburn and he's going to finish his commitment and the signature that he put down for Auburn University because he's going to get drafted top 10 in the MLB draft. And we can't say enough about how great he has been in the Auburn uniform. He's been phenomenal, man. I just, the way this kid swings the bat, and he started out so slow this year, but you eventually knew it was going to come, right? He's just too good. He's too good. You can't hold a guy down like Ike Irish. He swings it really well. I've given the Juan Soto comparison time and time again. The confidence in the box, how hard he hits the baseball. You know, he had some problems in his freshman year. He couldn't really elevate the ball. Everybody was like, well, Ike's not hitting bombs. Well, I mean, hell, he was hitting 400 for you as a freshman in the toughest conference ever in college baseball. I interviewed Mikey Matuk, who was a former national champion at LSU. And he said that SEC baseball is equivalent to AA baseball. He said, I struggled more. This is a guy that played in the major leagues. All right. This is a guy that made it to the show. He ain't no fluke. He was an all SEC player at LSU. He said, I struggled more in the SEC at times than I did in minor league baseball. That's how difficult the SEC is. And last night on the broadcast, they were talking about, you know, you look on these SEC rosters, there's at least one guy that's going to make it to the bigs. And that's true. That is true. That is so true, man. The SEC talent is unbelievable. This LSU team, they've got it. They expect to go to Omaha year in and year out. Their pitching is elite. That's why I was just shocked that we got to Anderson like that. Chase Fralick got it going so quick with 2-0, then Ike Irish bang. It's like we got to him and we made them pay, man. When we got runners on the bags last night, we made LSU pay. We made LSU pay. Just great stuff. Eric Guevara, Chris Rembert. I can talk about those guys coming up in the clutch. Like D-Rock, the defensive plays that he makes, I think he's so huge for us taking over that role at shortstop this year. The boys are hot. They're hot. All right. Cam Tilley, he didn't have it last night. One thing I think gets a little carried out of hand and just blown out of proportion a little bit is the Auburn bullpen isn't terrible this year. And everybody wants to say when we give up a couple runs, like, oh, here goes the Auburn bullpen. Y'all, Cam Tilley's been electric. The ERA is around 2. He's got really good stuff. He just didn't have it last night. He was struggling finding the zone. He didn't get any calls on the outside, and that's fine. But what do? You go to a senior guy, say, hey, Carson Myers, come here, big fella. You've pitched in big-time moments. And you turn to him, a senior that has been on that stage and can get you outs. He's got really good stuff. And he did that. He come in and he was terrific. He was terrific. He closed the game out. Yeah, Cam, he loaded the bases, and I think it was the Jones kid for LSU. He drove the ball in the right center gap. They scored a couple runs. That's cool. All right, that's cool. You kept it at 7-3 or whatever, and then you come in and you answered right back. That's the thing with Auburn is you give up those runs, you bounce right back, and you answer, and you widen that margin again. It's not like you lay down and say, hey, we're just going to let these guys creep back into it. No, you carried on and you said, hey, let's scratch back. Let's scratch back. And you did that, man. I really, really enjoyed watching the fight in this Auburn team. And I told you guys at the very beginning of the year, I think we were 2-3 series in, I said there's a difference between the 2024 team and the 2025 team. And The 2024 team, they quit in these situations. They quit. They roll over. They lay down. The 2025 team, they got swept at Georgia, and they didn't quit. They've lost twice to UAB. They lost to Holy Cross. Then they still ain't quit. They still ain't quit, man. And I think this team, to have as many freshmen in the spotlight like Bub Terrell, guy's terrific, man. What great ABs he has. Just played a hell of a left field last night. Super impressed with him. I always have been. Chase Fralick, Chris Rembert, man, you got all these young cats out there that even the Bristol Carter, I know he's not a freshman, but he come from ECU and he's still a young guy and he's made a big impact. You know, you can look at guys like, Cade Blue. I know he didn't play last night. I know he hasn't been playing lately, but still a young guy that can make a big impact. This roster is young. This roster is very young. Cooper McMurray, D-Rock, and Ike Irish. All right, those are your three guys in this lineup that are going to be gone. But everybody else is just, they're young. They're freshmen and sophomores. So not only are we going to be good this year, but I think the future of Auburn baseball, I think it's through the roof, man. And it takes me back to last year when people were so quick to hop on this Fire Butch train. Fire Butch. No, you get caught up in the moment. You get caught up in the moment of, well, we've only won 7 SEC games. You got caught up in the moment of saying, hey, we suck. And guess what? Every school is going to have those seasons where they suck. Every school is going to have them. Mississippi State went through it. I think they went on the road last night and got a big time dub in Tuscaloosa. But every school is going to have those moments, man, where you just, one season you're not going to have it. You're going to have some guys leave, and the guys that you bring in, they don't pan out, and it happens. But this season is different. You went out and you got some guys, and you brought some guys in that believed in what you were doing, believed in what you were preaching, and they've done that. Now, we got to finish off the series, y'all. All right, we've only won one game. But the big picture here is you're above 500 in SEC play. You wanted to leave this weekend at least getting one, and you accomplished that. Now you look at the big picture. You look at the big picture, and you say, hey, let's go win the series now. Got one today, got one tomorrow. Got 2 opportunities, 2 cracks at it to win the series and take the series from the number 3 team in the country. What is the deal with Cade? Are you talking about Cade Fisher? I just think he has a problem with getting past the 3rd inning. I think he has a longevity problem. I think he looks fantastic. Maybe is he not a starter? Like, maybe would he work better at the pen? I don't know, but it's like he hits that wall when he gets to that 3rd inning. He looks terrific, man. I was at the Vandy series, and I watched him live up close, and I thought his stuff was absolutely electric the first 2 innings. Got to that 3rd inning, and it was like walk, double. Just absolutely mind-blowing how he hits that wall, and it feels like it's every start. But I think he's got the stuff to be great. I do. I think he is one heck of a pitcher. He's got the arm. He's got the size. He's got the build, man. He's everything is there for Cade Fisher to be successful. He's just got to get over that hump. Maybe it's a mental thing. I don't know. But he's just got to get over that hump. If he does, watch out. If Cade Fisher reaches his potential, y'all, and he can start giving you 6 inning outings, Auburn has 2 guys to lean on in regionals and then super regionals, and then you get to Omaha, And that third guy, you're trying to find that third guy. But most of the time, when you look at college baseball, you got two guys. You got two studs that really take you to where you want to be. That third guy is kind of iffy, right? You got two guys, and you need Cade Fisher to step up and be that guy. Man, Rodney, appreciate you, brother. Really do appreciate you. That means a ton, man. Dustin, look, I was strapped for time today, and I think this was such a big win in Auburn baseball that I'm going to the zoo. I'm taking my kids to the zoo today, so I'm not going to be able to be on a lot tonight or anything like that. So I just hopped on here and give you guys 20 minutes, 30 minutes to talk about this massive win for Auburn baseball. But we'll be back. I think with the football team 8As today and all that stuff. So we're I'm sure we're going to talk tomorrow about A-Day and everything that was talked about and the new way it's being thrown out and all that stuff, So we'll figure something out, and then I'm sure we'll be back Tuesday and all that good stuff. So there's a lot to be talked about, man, and I'm sure we'll probably do some more baseball stuff and talk about the rest of this series. But y'all, thank y'all. I appreciate y'all, Rodney. We always appreciate you, man. Everything you do here. It doesn't go unnoticed. Mike, Susan, all of y'all, man. Rebel Yale, just appreciate y'all. It's been fun, man. It's been a fun couple weeks for Auburn sports, right? We're getting going, and football is cranking up, and the baseball team seems to be hitting a stride. So thank y'all, War Damn Eagle. Hey, let's go get one more and take the series from the number 3 team in the country, War Damn Eagle.